This is Jonathan Agger, Fit for Pro Boxing fans. We're here at the Fury versus Whyte press conference ahead of April 23rd's world title fight. I'm joined by Tyson Fury's nutritionist, George Lockhart. George, nice to meet you. How are you?
Doing great, man. Loving it. This is the actual first press conference I've came with Tyson. It's interesting considering his opponent wasn't here, but he held it up, and it was actually a lot of fun.
Where are you from originally, by the way?
I was born in Cali, but I was raised in Arizona, or the U.S. I live in Georgia now in the U.S., yeah.
So obviously, for those that don't know, you are Tyson Fury's nutritionist. Just talk to us about how that all came about.
It's crazy. I was actually supposed to just come out, and he needed someone to cook his food. They were like, "Hey, you're the heavyweight champion of the world. You need, someone to actually watch what you're eating and stuff like that." He became champion by eating whatever the heck he wanted, and I think after a week of working with him, he's like, "You know what? This is new. I feel better. I'm recovering faster." So it stuck. So that was the second Wilder fight, and ever since then we've been together.
And who else have you worked with in the past?
Oh man, you name it. I've worked with a lot of MMA guys, but in terms of boxing, I've gotten the chance to work with Badu Jack, Triple G. When I do that, I was a small part of the camp. James Lockwood is our head chef. He worked mainly with the guys, stuff like that. I did Caleb Plant. Billy Joe Saunders, and obviously Tyson. So we've gotten to work with a lot of guys in a short period of time in boxing. MMA, obviously, Conor McGregor. We've done Daniel Cormier. You name it, we've probably worked with him.
All right, so in terms of working with Tyson, obviously a heavyweight, we know they don't have to weigh in. So how does your role change working with Tyson to all the other guys you have to make a certain weight?
Right. I mean, it's cool because I get to concentrate on what every nutritionist should be concentrating on, and it's performance. If I always tell people, if you're in a fight camp and your main goal is to make a weight, you're not doing something right. If performance is going well, then you'll be at the weight that you need to be at anyway, and that's the cool thing. Tyson never worries about that. You know what I'm saying? We do have an optimal weight for him. We understand that if he's above that certain weight or below that certain weight, he's not, like I said, not optimal, but a lot less is cared about, I guess you say, with that.
So obviously that first fight you did with him, the Wilder one, he came out a career heaviest, and he's saying in the press conference he's going to top that. So what sort of the dietary plans, not going into so much depth, but what sort of things, like how many times does Tyson eat a day? What sort of stuff do you prepare for him? Yeah,
he'll eat 4 to 6 times a day, and the thing is, it doesn't sound sexy, but simplicity and consistency is the most important thing. Like today, we took off about 7 o'clock this morning. We want to make sure that he has food the entire time. He's been at this press conference and everything, had been around food for the last 6 hours. So, having everything prepped, everything made, so when it was time for him to eat, he had it. We give him what he needs when he needs it, but, every day we try and give him at least 1 fish, 1 red meat, 1 chicken, so he's getting a variety of food, lots of vegetables, lots of fruits and stuff like that, and, the variety and, like I said, consistency is the most important thing. That's what he gets.
And like you say, you've worked with a lot of world champions, Conor McGregor. These are some of the biggest personalities in the sport, but Tyson Fury is, in most people's view, in a league of his own in terms of personality. How do you compare working with, say, Tyson to Conor McGregor?
Oh man, that's crazy because they're both very, outspoken people. You put them in front of a camera and they're gonna crush it. I worked for Conor for many years, 5, 6 years. Great guy. I love the team and everything. But I would consider Tyson actually one of my friends. You know what I mean? Like, he brings you in and he freaking makes you part of the family. You're like, wow, And I think he does that with a lot of people. You know what I mean? He's able to relate to a lot of people. And, like I said, you put them both in front of an audience and they're gonna crush it. The difference between Tyson, maybe not so as negative sometimes.
And final one, how important is that relationship? Or is it important to have that relationship between nutritionist and fighter? Or how much is that significant?
Oh, I think it's huge. If you don't trust what's going in, it's just like a coach. There's going to be days that you have bad days of sparring. There's going to be days that you don't feel the best. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have that trust in the person that's feeding you or fueling you up, you might have a bad day, and it might not be because of the food. It might be because maybe lack of sleep, extra stress, so many different things. But if you don't have that trust, you might be like, oh, it's the food, it's this or that. And I think over these last couple of years, I've earned that trust with him. You know, he trusts me implicitly, so I think it's a good thing. I'm like, Tyson, eat this, he does it, and then, you know, he goes out there and does his thing.
And one more question, actually. What's Tyson's favourite food to eat in camp?
I tell you what, everybody asks me that. And you know, it's funny because I'll ask him, I'm like, what is your favorite? Because everybody's going to ask me that. And it changes every camp. The one thing I can tell you that he loves spicy food. I'm half Mexican. I love cooking spicy. He likes food a little bit spicier than I do, so he loves the spicy stuff. He loves fruit bowls. I'm trying to think. The last time I asked him, it was fish, beans, and chips. So I'll cook it. Obviously, I can't fry the stuff like that, but that was his favorite meal that I make him. Simple stuff, but like home style meals is his thing.
And for those who just want to know more about your work and stuff, just tell us where we follow you on social media.
Lockloaded MMA on Instagram. You can look at Lockhart and Leith on .com. We actually have a recipe book coming out within the next month. But if you check out Lockloaded Nutrition on Instagram, you can go and find that out and see what all these other fighters are eating.
Great stuff. George, thanks very much for talking to Pro Boxing Fan.